Hi, welcome to Tom Talk Shop episode 3. Today I've got to make a few more of these from some parts that I've salvaged from some stair treads. This is going to be a kind of a preparatory episode for our Rubo saw, so I wanted to do this one myself. Basically, I'm going to talk about how to get these nice and straight and square and exactly the right size. So let's get started, and please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. All right, I have a piece here of some stair tread that I've already cut down. It's about 1 5/8 square, give or take a little bit. And can't really see it on the camera, but it's a little bit twisted at this end, and it's got a little bit of a ski jump at the other end. So the first thing I want to do is kind of get this thing just flattened out. And since it's so narrow, I really won't be using winding boards. I'm just going to have to eye it. And I want to just kind of get it smooth too and get the tool marks off of it. In this case, I used a table saw. This is the most important face, because once you have this one, you'll reference all other faces off this one. Plus, it's a finished face. On the opposite side, there's a bit of a knot that I can probably plane off of it and get rid of it completely, hopefully. All right, I've got this pretty close to flat. I'm just going to check it here. Yeah, I got to do one little thing there. Just let me take a little bit off that outer corner, and I should be good to go. I mean, it was just a tiny bit, but because we're making tool parts of these, I want them to be pretty accurate. Now, I'm not going to try squaring it yet because this is my reference edge. So I'm going to put a sign on there saying it's my reference edge. In this case, a $sign. Now, I'm going to turn this way and turn 90 degrees one way or the other. It doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to start flattening the other one to create my second reference edge. I'm going to have to go the opposite direction. So I think I'm going to go, shoot. There we go.
Because of the grain, correct?
Yes, and no matter what I do, it's going to be on the opposite side. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm trying to get it where it'll go that way. Okay. So now, this one's just a tiny bit out, but I have a lot of room to maneuver right now because I have to take over a 1/4 inch off. So what I'll do now is just go along the top of this one and just get it that side off a little bit to start with, because it's where it was high.
Keep talking louder because we can't hear you.
So I get a little bit more off here, and it'll be a little cheap with that. Taking just little light swipes at first. I've been doing this a long time, but this part of it's always kind of the most difficult, and I'm still just a hair out. Now I'm just going to take just a little bit more off that outside. I mean, just a tiny bit. And that should almost get me where I need to be. All right, so now I've got it in square on two sides. That's the easy part now.
To the 2 square sides.
Yeah. So now I have this side and this side are square. So now I can start thicknessing. So probably what I'll do is I want to remove this. Can you see that in the thing? I want to get that flaw out of there first thing, because that's going to grief me. So I'm going to thickness going from the original side. In this case, I've set a marking gauge to my target depth, which is 1 5/16 inches. So I'll go and I'll mark it all the way around on this reference side. This is a whole lot easier than just eyeballing it. And that will just about take that knot out. Now that I have that, I'll figure out which direction the grain should go. Should go that way, hopefully. And before I get going, I'm going to pop that knot out with a chisel so I'm not dulling my plane on it. And it's just chattering over it instead of having to cut it. Saves a lot of elbow, especially when you're working with soft wood like this. A piece of spruce, be my guess. Don't quite know what it is. There. Now, see if I'm going the right way. Looks like I am. Then I'm just going to start taking big, heavy, aggressive cuts to start with until I get close to the line, and we'll come back when I'm down close to the line. Okay, I'm down almost to my line. I'm real close to it, and I'm actually going to start checking my square before I get to the line, and I'm way out, but I was cutting pretty aggressively. So what I do at this point, while I've still got a little bit of room to work, but I'm not quite to the line, is get some of the high and low spots out. And I tend to kind of cut at an angle anyway, so I've left the outside just a little bit proud. I'm going to start bringing that in line, and the center is a little bit high because of this knot that was there. So I bring that down. Again, this is kind of just eyeing it still, but I've got the line as a reference. As long as I don't go past it, I'm usually pretty good. Because once it starts kind of peeling away, then I know I'm getting real close to ready to stop. Plus, if I get it nice and square before I get down to the line, I'm usually ahead. And I'm taking much less aggressive passes now. I'm going to just check myself. Still a little bit high in a couple spots. And I'm still really out of square, almost a 16th to the outside. So I will fix that first by just tipping my plane into it. I'm holding my finger and kind of just lifting up the outer edge of the plane to just tip it into the cut.
It was that back edge that was hard cut.
Yeah, it's the outer edge. The outer edge is high.
What was the outer edge?
This one, the one away from me.
Just want to clarify that for our viewers.
Okay, now I'm almost to the line on the outside, which ought to get me real close to square. So actually, I'm still high on that line. Well, okay. So I'll have to take a bit more off the outside. But I'm taking much smaller bites now. Just barely taking a bite.
Show how thin those.
Yeah, they're not uber thin, but they're as thin as I can get with this setup, pretty much. It's not a smoothing plane. Okay, so we're still getting real close. Just need a little bit more. That's what it was. Riding up on a chip. Now, all right, I'm almost down to that line too. So let's check it again. Actually, I'm just right in square. could take just a tiny bit more off the whole thing. Now I've got to carefully just take a big wide swipe off the whole thing right down the center. Just a few passes, and then that should get me. Then I'll have to check it again before I run out of room. We're shooting for about a 30-second tolerances here, so it's not quite machine shop tolerances. Not expecting that kind of accuracy. But it's still pretty accurate. So we're going to take our time with these. Got one little place where it keeps wanting to get out of square right there. Other than that, we're good. Okay, so I've about got this one to where I want it. It might be a tiny bit thick, but it's all right for our purposes. Now I'm going to turn this way because I need to take the same amount off this, but I'm going to reference off this face when I start squaring it up. So it's just a repeat of the same process.
So it's the opposite side.
So I've squared off this. So, and I've squared off this side. So I will shoot this face off this, your previously squared side. Right. I'm not going to shoot off a square of a square.
Right.
You're just accumulating error there. So I'm just rinse and repeating, getting the exact same dimension here. If you're doing these two different dimensions, then it would behoove you to have two marking gauges too, especially if you were making a whole bunch of these. So this looks like it should go that way, hopefully. And I'll true up off that now. Okay, I've got this just about down to size. And then I'm going to just get this one done and square it up. I'm going to back my plane off till it's just barely cutting. A little bit less than that. And kind of the same drill as before. I'm going to take the high spot out of the middle. I've been doing this for 50 years and I still get high spots in the middle when I'm working aggressively. Now, let's see. Let's take a little bit more off that. Like I said in the previous side, we're kind of shooting for about a 30-second tolerance, give or take. It's not quite aircraft tolerances or machine shop tolerances, but it'll be quite square. Probably squarer than we actually do most parts here. Simply because big pieces of furniture move and flap around anyway. And we actually try to build that into our designs, especially since we work with so much green and air-dried lumber. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit off the outside. And still a little high in the center. Now, I'm going to just back my plane off till it just really barely cuts. It's not even cutting. And try to take just the smallest amount possible because I'm just about down to my line and where I want to be. So there we go. Plus that lets the longer sole of the jack plane do a little bit of the work for me. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm about there. I can just start checking my square. Yep. And there we are, we're square, right down to the line. So that's probably about where I'm going to stop. I'm going to check it with the calipers just to be sure. Because I like these to be pretty accurate. And I'm right on 1 5/16. Looks like both ways. Yeah. I got that one about a 64th shy. It's right there, but I'm about a 64th shy there, but this is good enough for what we're doing. So there we go. And we're going to need these. I'm going to need 4 or 5 of them, I guess, to make the Rubo saw, plus some odds and ends. And I'll be seeing you in that episode shortly.